Hello, Mrs. Thompson. Can I get you anything?
Don't tell me I have to sign another form.
No, my goodness, I think that's all been taken care of. Have they told you about dinner tonight?
They don't tell me anything in this place. They just come in and stick needles in me.
Well, that's nothing to be concerned about. That's standard procedure the day before surgery. You'll be given a light meal tonight, and then nothing by mouth after midnight.
I know.
And, of course, no breakfast in the morning. Now, your surgery is scheduled for 8 a.m., which means they'll be by at 7:30 to take you to OR. Oh, and prior to that, one of the nurses will be in to give you a shot. Don't worry about it. It's just to keep you calm. Has your anesthesiologist been in to see you yet?
I haven't seen anyone.
Well, he'll be by shortly to answer any questions you might have. And, of course, Dr. Weber will be in to see you, too.
Dr. Weber?
Mm-hmm. He's your surgeon.
Not anymore. I asked for another doctor.
Why?
He's the health commissioner.
What?
Didn't you read this story? It's right on the front page.
Mrs. Thompson, this story doesn't have anything to do with your surgery.
It certainly does. There's no way I'm going to let that man operate on me.
Your surgery is all scheduled.
Well, then you can just unschedule it with him. If he's a crook as a health commissioner, he's probably just as crooked in the operating room.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Dr. Weber is the finest cardiac surgeon in the hospital.
He is also a crook, and I don't want him near me.
You're saying you want to cancel your surgery?
That is exactly what I'm saying. Unless I find an alternate, I am canceling my surgery.
Mrs. Thompson, that is ridiculous. Dr. Weber is not only a brilliant surgeon, he is a good man, and he is an honest man, and I really wish you would reconsider.
I've considered what I read, and that's enough for me. I'm canceling, and that is that.
Mrs. Thompson, if you want to cancel your surgery, that is certainly a privilege. However, let me remind you of something. Why you're here. It's your health that's at stake. You need this surgery, or you wouldn't be in the hospital.
Young lady, I do not wish to discuss it. Dr. Weber is not operating on me. And that is final. The man is dishonest.
Well, Mrs. Thompson, I see you're checked in. Everything okay? Any problems?
Yes, there certainly is a problem. We were just talking about it.
Oh.
Mrs. Thompson wants to cancel her surgery.
May I ask why?
I read the newspapers, Doctor. Especially this morning's paper about you.
I see. May I explain something to you?
There's no need for explanations.
Oh, I think there is every need for explanations. When we first talked some time ago, you agreed that you needed surgery. You also agreed that I would be the surgeon.
That was before I read the paper.
I know that, but in this story, I don't think you'll find anywhere where it says I'm not a good physician. I don't think it says that I cannot treat my patients well. I'm the same surgeon yesterday that I am today, and that I will be tomorrow in the operating room.
Doctor.
Let me finish, please. As to this story, it was a very complicated business situation. And the story itself is inaccurate. It is blown totally out of proportion.
Then why did they print it?
I'm afraid the oldest answer in the book, because they can sell newspapers with stories like this. May I ask you something?
What?
When we first started talking, before I told you that surgery was the only answer, did I ever lie to you about your condition, how serious your condition was?
No.
Didn't I also tell you that I felt that your surgery would be totally successful?
Yes, you said that.
Then I'd like to ask you one thing. I didn't lie to you about the story. I didn't lie to you about your condition, how serious it was, or your surgery. I'm not going to lie to you now. I'm the same doctor that's in this story. However, this story is inaccurate. Now it's up to you. Do you want to cancel your surgery or not?
Doctor, if you don't need me.
Unless Mrs. Thompson does. Do you have a few minutes free?
I could take a break.
Would you meet me in the cafeteria in about 10? I have something I need to talk to you about.
Of course.
Thank you. Well, Mrs. Thompson?
Darling, have you got the room key?
Right here.
Thank you.
Ready to tackle the slopes?
Are we ever?
Yes, we are. Can't wait. Your skis will be brought up to the ski rack outside.
Great.
May I ask which run you'll be using?
Well, we figured that we'd take a look at the slopes first and then decide. Why?
Because as I recall, when you checked in, there were tickets for Killer Run waiting for you.
Yeah.
3 half-day for each of us.
Are you familiar with Killer Run?
No, not really, but we've read about it, and to tell you the truth, we're anxious to tackle it.
Today, may I ask?
Well, why not?
Well, you know, it might be wiser to hit some of the tamer slopes before we go for Killer Run.
That depends, of course, on your experience as skiers.
We are both very experienced.
I'm sure you are, Mr. Andrews, but it's our policy to make sure all our guests understand that Killer Run is not only extremely difficult, it can be very dangerous. The chief reason for requiring special tickets is to discourage those who aren't unusually skilled.
You have not succeeded. You haven't talked us out of it.
Then I should remind you, it closes at 5.
Good, good. Well, what about the other runs, though? You have night skiing on those, don't you?
Oh, yes, all our slopes are lighted at night, even
right.
Killer Run. But Killer Run is unusually steep, and most important, about halfway down, there's a very deep crevasse. It's marked by day, but even with the lights, at night it would be much too risky. 5 o'clock is closing time for that devil.
All right, we understand. But, darling, why don't we do this? We can go out now, we can ski the intermediate slopes today, and then tomorrow we'll tackle the advanced slopes in the morning, come in, have a big lunch, and for the grand finale, Killer Run.
All right, that sounds good. We'll make that our very last run of the day. But we do have to get regular tickets for today and tomorrow still.
That's right.
Enjoy yourselves. And as you may have read in the directory in your room, the Après Ski Club opens at 6 o'clock. I think you'll enjoy it, too.
Believe me, we intend to enjoy everything.
Including Killer Run.
Bye.
For both of you. Have you set the date?
No, we haven't yet. We have a few arrangements to make first.
We both feel the sooner the better.
Good. Now then, do either of you have any questions?
Oh, yes, actually, I have a couple.
I'll try to answer them for you.
Well, as I've told you, Father, I'm not Roman Catholic. Would I have to convert in order for you to marry us?
I'd prefer that, of course. And should you wish to convert, I'd be happy to instruct you. But the answer is no. You do not have to convert to the Catholic faith.
Well, that's good to hear. You see, we've done a lot of talking about this, and we've decided to maintain our own religions.
I have no problem with that, Jake. You're a Jew, are you not?
Yes, I am, Father. I can't say that I'm a very devout Jew. I was raised in the Jewish faith, though. I was bar mitzvahed as a child, and I try to adhere to the principles I was taught as much as I can.
In that case, I have no doubt that you and Rose will make a fine life together. I'm sure you have further questions, though. This is a big step you're taking.
Yes, it is. And Jake and I feel that under the circumstances, we would prefer to have a ceremony performed both by a priest and a rabbi, which brings us to another question.
That is, if we can find a rabbi who's willing to do it.
Let's assume that you find such a rabbi. What is the question?
Well, we'd like to know if you would personally be willing to perform the ceremony along with the rabbi.
That can be arranged, Rose. When you've selected the rabbi, ask him to call me, and we'll work out the ceremony.
Well, I guess we solved one of our problems.
We certainly have. Thank you very much, Father. I'm very grateful.
I'm very, very happy for both of you. You've made the usual agreement as to the children, I assume?
I beg pardon?
Any children you and Rose might have in the future.
Oh, what agreement?
I'm sorry, I just took that for granted. As you must know, Rose, you and Jake have to agree that any children you might have in the future will be raised as Catholics.
What?
Surely you've agreed to this.
No, we
yes,
haven't.
we have.
There seems to be some confusion here. I thought you understood, Jake, that while it is not necessary to convert, you must very definitely agree in advance of the marriage that your children will be raised in the Catholic faith.
Rose, you didn't tell me that.
I really never thought about it, or I thought I had told you. I took it for granted that as a Catholic...
Such an agreement is required before I could marry you. Do you have some objection to such an agreement, Jake?
I don't know. Like Rose, I haven't given it much thought. As a matter of fact, I didn't know anything about it.
Well, think about it. Without such an agreement in advance, I cannot marry you.
Let's go.
Now?
Yes, we have things to talk about. A lot.
Thank you, Father. We'll be in touch.
Oh, I didn't keep you waiting. Sorry.
I don't mind. Did you get things straightened out with Mrs. Thompson?
Well, I hope so. She told me how you went to bat for me, and I don't think I would have gotten anywhere if you hadn't paved the way.
I just told her the truth. You are a brilliant surgeon, and she's lucky to have you.
Bobbie, thank you.
I feel very awkward about all of this.
Don't. Whatever is happening, do not let it affect our professional relationship.
Well, Rick, that's easy to say.
Yeah, fine, but you just concentrate on one very important fact.
What?
The truth. What's happening does not affect your ability as a nurse, and it doesn't affect my ability as a surgeon.
I know it shouldn't.
Well, don't let it. You can't. Nothing will stand in the way of our professional relationship. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Good.
Can I just say one thing?
Well, sure, now's the time, right?
I'm sorry it happened.
So am I. I'm very sorry. In the meantime, can I treat you to some, nice cake. Pie? Something? Half a grapefruit. What a kick in the joints.
Well, we certainly like the highlight, don't we?
Robert, I thrive on it. You know, I called room service and asked them for some pastries, and look at these wonderful petit fours they sent me. Oh, and I asked for 2 cups in case you came back in time. Would you like some tea?
I'd love some.
I'm dying to know. How did it go with Dr. Campbell's patient?
Well, there's not much to tell, really. He hasn't seen Campbell in ages and doesn't know why it was mentioned in the note.
Well, whoever wrote the note must have had some reason.
Damned if I can find it. I mean, I don't even know who wrote it. I mean, it's just one blind alley after another.
That usually means that you're looking up the wrong alley.
You could be right. I mean, but at this point, I mean, damn it, we don't know anything. I don't even know for sure whether there's been a crime committed.
But it was Dr. Campbell's own tape recorder, wasn't it?
Yes, that's been established. But, I mean, who took it? How? Why? When? What's the game plan? Too many unanswered questions.
May I make a suggestion?
Go ahead. Occasionally your suggestions are quite good.
Take a breather.
What sort of a suggestion's that?
Well, forget about the whole thing for a while. Just put it completely out of your mind. And then when you go back to it, you might see something that you missed.
Well, there's one little flaw in that plan. If I put the Campbell case down, I have to pick up the Ginny Blake one.
Later.
Darling, that's my job.
All work and no play makes Robert
I
something
think
or
it's
other.
a dull boy.
You never. Here. Eat one of these and you'll feel much better.
I really don't want it. Really.
This price, eat.
What's going on around here? Why is the place closed?
Well, I told Martha to close up right after lunch.
Oh? Why?
Well, I thought we might want to celebrate. Thought it might be nice to have a place to ourselves.
Rose.
I guess I was a little hasty, huh?
Rose, I'm sorry.
So am I.
What's all this?
I guess Martha was a little hasty, too, huh? Really don't have anything to celebrate, do we?
Rose, if you think it was my fault...
No, Jake, I don't think it was your fault. I don't know that it's anybody's fault. If it is, it's mine. I made the wrong assumption. I really should have asked you.
Yes.
I just thought that you realize how important it is to me that my children be raised Catholic.
I didn't know that.
And I did get the distinct impression from you that you really don't care that much about religion.
Well, I don't care that much about religion, but I do care about tradition. When that priest assumed that our children would be raised Catholic, that's the first time all of this hit me.
What?
They would be strangers to their own father. And at least we wouldn't share the same beliefs. I mean, that could always come between us.
So what do we do now, huh?
I know there's a way out of it. I know it.
I really want there to be a way, Jake. But what?
I don't know. I don't have any answers.
Maybe you'd just better call it a day.
Give us some time to think.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I'll be going on home. You gonna be all right?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
I'll see you.
Okay.
figured perhaps.
I have a simply marvelous idea.
Well, you usually do, and what is this one?
When we get upstairs, why don't we light the fire in our room, forget about the Afray Ski Club, forget about dining in the dining room,
Well, go on. There must be more.
and have them bring up dinner, and we'll eat in front of the fire.
Dressed like this?
Or whatever.
I like the sound of whatever. I'll tell you what, darling. That idea is approved.
Your key?
Boy, this guy's Johnny on the spot. Yes, thank you very much.
How was the skiing?
It was great, just great. We stayed on the intermediate slopes,
Yeah.
but it was still invigorating.
Yeah, but it's
Glad
really
you enjoyed it.
tomorrow afternoon that we're looking forward to, though.
Tomorrow afternoon, Mr. Andrews?
Yeah, that's what we're saving up for. Tomorrow afternoon, we do our big finish. Killer run.
Having a problem?
No, just adjusting. Go ahead.
Well, I've got to try to work up my nerve first.
Well, okay, have a good one.
I will.
Tomorrow, the stars of Lace